Hello and welcome. You're watching News 9. My name is Pankaj Mishra. Well, the Ram Navami violence is continuing unabated, and the fresh violence coming in from Howrah is something that once again reminds us of the issues that are at hand when it comes to handling crowds as far as big events are concerned, big religious events are concerned. Now it has taken a full political war shape in West Bengal with the ruling TMC trading barbs with the BJP on who orchestrated these violence. A fresh stone pelting incident was reported from Howrah's Shivpur after several vehicles were set on fire amid Ram Navami celebrations on Thursday. Violence erupted when Bajrang Dal and Vishwa Hindu Parishad members had taken out Ram Navami procession. During the procession, there was a clash between two communities, leading to stone pelting. After this, many vehicles and shops were set on fire. On Friday, police personnel conducted flag march after the ruckus. So far, 41 people have been arrested in this case. Meanwhile, Home Minister Amit Shah called up the BJP State President Sukanta Majumdar and discussed the law and order situation in Howrah. We are joined by now Saikat Basu, news editor from TV9, and also Subir Bhaumik, senior journalist and author, who joins us on the broadcast. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking time out. Subir, let me begin with you first. This violence, obviously, it is unfortunate. First, the police is taking precaution now, which appears that with flag march and everything. But do you believe the political fraternity too is keeping in mind what is being uttered as of now?
Well, actually, yeah, the police, and especially the second phase of violence happened when the police was there in real strength, including riot police. So I don't know how this happened. It obviously calls for introspection and how policing is done in West Bengal these days. But, there are two sides of the picture. One is that this Ram Navami thing is somewhat new to Bengal. It has much to do with the rise of BJP and the use of this particular festival for outright political mobilization on a religious platform. And, the violence happened after these processions had taken place. So obviously, the processions have something to do with the violence that followed, and there is a clear linkage. That's one side of the picture. So therefore, the people who are involved in the procession have something to do with the violence, and it's fairly clear. The other side of the picture is that the government of Trinamool Congress, Mamata Banerjee, chief minister, they will also have to answer why after the initial violence. Now, every time this Ram Navami happens in Bengal these days, there is tension. There are problems. There are certain other festivals, again, where there are problems. So in the normal course of policing, people should know what is, a tension-prone sort of festival, and the areas where this trouble could erupt. I mean, This is normal policing, it's part of policing to predict, which are the sensitive areas and where there should be appropriate deployment, and also not just deployment, but clear instructions about intervening, in the right way, as and when things get out of control or tend to get out of control. Now, clearly here, that this has not happened. So I'm not getting into the politics of it. The politics of it is obvious. The tutu mame is obvious. There are, people who in the BJP from the center, they are making accusations. And, they are saying that Trinamool has failed, that Trinamool is partial to a particular community. And that kind of allegations we have heard before. The Trinamool is also saying that, these people who were in the processions were using bulldozers. They were carrying swords. They were obviously violent intent. Point is, obviously, if there was violent intent, what was your police doing? You should intervene at the right point of time and in the right possible way. So both sides have some questions to answer.
Right. Mr. Bhaumik, stay with us. Saikat, before we come to you, let's listen in to what Subir was saying, tutu meme, political tutu meme that is going on. But obviously, the policing is something that is still under the lens. Let's listen into some political slugfest first that transpired today in West Bengal.
হাওড়াতে গত দুদিন ধরে যা ঘটনা ঘটছে এবং তার সাথে লালগোলা এলাকাতেও এই ধরনের ঘটনা ঘটেছে, পুরো বিষয়টি নিয়ে মাননীয় গৃহমন্ত্রী শ্রী অমিত শাহজি মহাশয়ের সাথে আমার কথা হয়েছে। ওনাকে পুরো বিষয়টি জানিয়েছি। উনি যথেষ্ট উদ্বিগ্ন এবং এই বিষয়ে ওনাকে আমি একটি চিঠিও দিচ্ছি, এতে যাতে কেন্দ্রীয় হস্তক্ষেপ হয় এবং তদন্ত হয় এবং তার ফলে যারা দোষী, তারা উপযুক্ত দোষী, তারা শাস্তি পাক। পশ্চিমবঙ্গে ল অ্যান্ড অর্ডার সিচুয়েশন সম্পূর্ণরূপে ধ্বংস হয়ে গেছে, সেটা মাননীয় গৃহমন্ত্রীজিকে আমি জানিয়েছি।
তোমাদের মিছিল করতে কেউ বারণ করেনি, তুমি তরোয়াল নিয়ে বুলডোজার নিয়ে মিছিল করবার পারমিশন অধিকার তোমায় কে দিয়েছে? আজকে আমি শুনেছি হাওড়ায় ওরা এমনকি বুলডোজারও ইউজ করেছে। হোয়াট অডাসিটি দে হ্যাভ গট। রিপ্লাই তোমায় দেব, বিপিটিং রিপ্লাই। তোমার যে রুট ছিল সেই রুট তুমি চেঞ্জ করলে কেন? তুমি আনঅথরাইজ রুটে গেছো, ইচ্ছা করে একটা কমিউনিটিকে ধাক্কা দেবার জন্য এবং হামলা করার জন্য। যারা আজকে দাঙ্গা করেছে, যতই মামলা করুক আর হামলা করুক, কোন রকম এক্সকিউজ আমি শুনবো না।
কোনো পুলিশ পারমিশন ছাড়া গায়ের জোরে যে বন্দুক নিয়ে কোমরে পিস্তল ঝুলিয়ে রামনবমীর মিছিল, তরোয়াল নিয়ে রামনবমীর মিছিল, ফলওয়ালার ছোট্ট যারা ব্যবসায়ী তাদের গাড়ি ভ্যান আগুনে জ্বালিয়ে দেওয়া হচ্ছে। এ কি ধরনের মিছিল, কি ধরনের শোভাযাত্রা? এবং শুধু তাই নয়, উগ্রভাবে ডিজে চালিয়ে রামকে স্মরণ করার কোন প্রথা? 14য় 2টো আসন পাওয়ার পর আর 16য় 3টে বিধানসভায় জেতা আসন পাওয়ার পর, 3টে বিধায়ক জেতার পর এরা পুরো রাজ্যটাকে নিজেদের পৈতৃক সম্পত্তি ভাবা শুরু করে দিল। যে ধর্মে ধর্মে উস্কানি, হিন্দু মুসলমান শিখ জৈন খ্রিস্টান একে অপরের বিরুদ্ধে লাগিয়ে দাও এবং যে করে হোক সারা রাজ্যের সৌহার্দ্য সম্প্রীতিকে ভেঙে দাও এবং তার উপর নিজেদের রাজনৈতিক স্বার্থ চরিতার্থ করতে নির্লজ্জভাবে নামো।
पुलिस कुछ काम नहीं कर रहा है, पूरा साइलेंट है। वहाँ 2000 से ज़्यादा पुलिस है, सीपी है, 2 सीनियर आईपीएस ऑफिसर को चीफ मिनिस्टर भेजा, एक है सिद्धिनाथ गुप्ता, मनोज वर्मा। ये लोग पूरा के पूरा 1 बजे से लेकर अब तक 3:30 बजे बना है। इसमें साइलेंट है, स्पेक्टेटर है, कुछ नहीं कर रहा है। सीपी मुझे मेरा साथ मुलाकात करने के लिए इनकार कर दिया। मैं 4 बजे टाइम मांगा था, उन्होंने बता दिया नेता प्रतिपक्ष के साथ मुलाकात करने का कोई सवाल ही नहीं है। नवान्नों से चीफ मिनिस्टर से डायरेक्शन है, मेरा साथ मुलाकात नहीं होगा, लेकिन मैं जाऊंगा, मेरा हाथ में एक सीडी रहेगा।
बंगाल के चुनाव हो तो उसके बाद भी हजारों लोगों के ऊपर पथराव, आगजनी, बम फेंकना ये आम सी बात बन गई है। और ममता जी के राज में जिस तरह से पत्रकारों पर हमले हुए, शोभा यात्रा रामनवमी की निकालते हुए उन पर पथराव हुआ है, इससे ज़्यादा शर्मनाक और क्या होगा कि अगर पत्रकारों को भी हिंसा का शिकार होना पड़ता है, लहूलुहान होना पड़ता है और राज्य की सरकार मूक दर्शक बन के बैठी रहती है, आंखें बंद करके रखती है, तो उसकी जितनी निंदा की जाए उतनी कम है।
So there is TMC and BJP trading barbs over the Ramnavami violence and the situation arising out of it. Saikat Basu, news editor of TV9, and Subir Bhaumik, senior journalist, are still with us. Saikat, let me come to you now. Well, we heard both sides talk, and obviously when it comes to West Bengal, the proportion, be it elections, be it any religious event or any procession or any protest, assumes a different significance altogether. What's the reason? Because we have seen violence happening, unfortunate violence happening in other parts of the country also in Ramnavami, but the kind of politics and the kind of continuation of violence that is there in West Bengal, what is the reason behind it that makes it so unique?
You see, it seems that violence is become synonymous with West Bengal, and be it Panchayat poll, be it assembly poll or Lok Sabha poll, violence happens throughout the year. And the real reason is very difficult to ascertain because the political parties try to flex muscle, and they are trying to grab power as much as possible, leaving no room for the opposition. That may be the reason of that violence. And in this case, the Ram Navami rally case, the police have failed miserably. And the area where the arson has taken place is no new. The last year also, the same place where the tension was there, and police was informed beforehand through which route the rally would go. But despite that, police failed to restrain the both sides involved in the rally or instigating the violence. So the failure of the administration to counter the violence is one reason that the state is witnessing so much violence over and over over a long period of time. Since the left regime, the violence and bloodshed has become the part of Bengal.
Right. Sagat, also, BJP is claiming that, rather TMC is clarifying it, that when the permission for these rallies, processions were sought, then no comment had come from the police side. Now, when this has happened, the police authorities and the TMC is saying that permission was not given to them. Seeking a permission and getting a permission are two different things. So, do you believe that there is some thin line, some grey area where these things are happening? Because TMC is also claiming that it's the BJP's attitude to create ruckus, and that's why this has happened. On the other hand, police obviously is coming under the question. So, what exactly is happening?
Yeah, there is a gray area. There is no doubt that the VHP convener had sought permission for the rally. Now, few minutes back, Abhishek Banerjee, the second in command of TMC, had shown a letter purportedly given by the police department giving 4 conditions for holding the rally. If this letter is true, then police was well aware that the rally would take place, and they had given 4 conditions to hold the rally, and the conditions were not that much that you should not deviate from the route that you have written in the letter, and you should not use foul and languages or gesture to the other community, and should not carry weapons like swords or any other weapon. So police was well aware. Whether they have given permission or not, I don't think that is much of a big thing, because it's a practice that police don't give permission in most of the cases. Like when Trinamool Congress holds a rally in the the capital, they also inform police, and police just receives the copy. They are informed. They don't officially give any permission. So police was in dark. That's not true in my mind.
Right. Subir Bhaumik there with senior journalist also with us. Subir, now as my colleague Saikat was mentioning, police's role, whether they were in the dark or whether they gave the permission or not, or whatever the procedure is, that is beyond the point that such kind of violence has happened. In your opinion, do you believe that BJP in a way is pointing to the fact that police did not do anything because the government belongs to the TMC and who is in power, and hence they should be responsible for the violence?
No, well, it doesn't stand to logic, because if there is a government in power, they have to get the situation under control. So it's not to be expected that they will influence the police and the police will do nothing, because if the police does nothing, normally, what I'm trying to say is police often is inactive. They are not very clear about political directives, what will please whom, and that kind of thing. But the point here is that if they don't act decisively, ultimately they are going to face the blame, and the government of the day is going to face the blame. So, but it's also true that the second phase of violence happened when the police was there in strength, How it happened, why it happened, well, subject to inquiry, investigation. But one thing is true. That is that permissions are given. Here the BJP says they had permission. They were going through the right route. The TMC is saying they were violating the route. They were not sticking to the route for which the permission had been given. They were deliberately trying to go through a minority area to create trouble. So
Right.
the allegation here is not, it's not the case of permission not being given. The case here is one side is saying we had permission to go through the route we were going through. The other side is saying they were not going through the route which has been allotted to them because they deliberately wanted to go into an area to create mayhem and ruckus. And that's the allegation. So
Right.
at the end of the day, regardless of the political tutu mama that's going on at the moment and that will continue and that's become a regular reality, what I would insist is that the police, apart from whichever political masters they serve, to get their professional bearings right, because the Bengal police was very famous, for a long period of our history, even our post-colonial history, for their professional efficiency. They are the
Right.
people who sort of tackled the Naxalite movement in the 70s when we were students. Sometimes there were reports of excesses, but basically they were professional enough to handle it. That has, that is no longer the case. The police very often keeps looking backward, what their political masters will think, what the other side will allege, because now you have the BJP here, which is an opposition party, and their party is in power in the center. So, they are looking out at political fallouts and stuff like that, rather than doing their own job properly. And that's why things like this happen and situations spill out of control.
Right. Subir, you are a journalist, you are an author also, and as the saying goes that every story has three sides: your side, my side, and the real side. Now, looking at the visuals that we have been playing here, it looks like the way people are expressing their anger, not just on main roads, but in small streets also, on empty roads also. There is a man who is bashing a particular pizza outlet's hoarding out of anger, and then he throws the motorcycles out. In these visuals here, in a 10 feet galiara, they are actually breaking things. So what does it reflect upon us? How does it reflect on our society? Because what happened in Delhi in 2021 also was not the right thing. That was the need of the hour, shouldn't have happened, but then it happened, and now we are seeing similar situations, if not of that scale, in Howrah.
Well, this is new India on display for you. The India of intolerance, the India of chaos, the India of anarchy. I mean, this is what is there. And in Bengal, we did not have this. Bengal has a history of violence, but it's political violence, not communal violence to the extent that we see in some of the other Indian states. But now these things are coming here. But here I must tell you that what you see there is a couple of people doing, the visuals. I mean, this is not just something that's happening spontaneously. This is part of a mob which was whipped, where feelings were whipped up. They were sort of, and this seems to be very targeted attacking. The way this guy is going about breaking things is not, something of a mayhem and madness. This is a very organized kind of planned kind of attacking.
So that's the question. That's the debate. That's the whole debate, Subir. Saikat, I would also like you to bring you in here. That's the whole debate. That who started it first? Who done it? A case of who done it. Such kind of anger coming out on the streets on a day which is marked with obviously marked as celebrations. Saikat, in your understanding, in your knowledge and memory, have you seen such communal issues in Howrah or West Bengal earlier? Because Subir is right when he says that political upheavals have been there, political violence has been there. Every election we see that, but violence on such scale, on such a day, I think it's rare.
I won't say so, because communal violence is nothing new to West Bengal. We are all aware of the 1946 Great Calcutta killing that started on 16th August 1946
talking
and
about the
continued
post-colonial era.
Yeah.
I'm talking of
post-colonial
the present.
time, there were
46 is long time
two
back.
distinct violence happened. One in 1964 January after the missing relic of Hazrat Bal. That happened in West Bengal, particularly in Kolkata, and after the demolition of Babri Masjid in 1992. So apart from few sporadic violence, Kolkata witnessed two major communal violences in recent years. So that's nothing new. And communal tension is also palpable in different parts of Bengal, mainly because of the fact India has, West Bengal, there is a growth of BJP in recent years, and there is a clash between saffron ecosystem and the appeasement politics. So
Okay.
every party is trying to get his own foothold. So these things are increasing, and I fear if not contained with the iron fist, that will continue to grow.
Right, Subir, and final word from you as far as these incidents are concerned. You, as a concerned Bengali, if I may say so, or from hailing from West Bengal, how would you see this in the first position? And secondly, what would be your word of caution and advice to both the political fraternity and the common people in general? Subir, if you can hear me.
Oh, sorry. Are you asking me? Okay,
Yes.
I mean, it's definitely a matter of concern. I mean, Saikat is right. Bengal has a history of communal violence, not recent violence, I would say, I would insist. But, we had 46, we had 64, and there is a population mix which can actually, give rise to quite a substantial degree of communal tension if these kind of events are not controlled. What I mean to say is everybody has a right to celebration. So you have a right to Ram Navami, but if you are really taking a outer procession with swords and stuff like that, which is not usually the case, Ram was he really known for wielding a sword? He was more known for his bows and arrows. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is that if such festivals are used for political mobilization and for winning turf battles, enforcing your writ on an area, ilaka hamare kabje mein kind of thing, then this situation is bound to get worse. And of course, much depends on how the government of the day and the police forces involved, the security forces involved, I mean, they have to behave professionally. They have to, sort of hit out at people who are creating violence. They have to ensure that innocent people don't get hit. That's what police professionalism is all about. It's not on a premium these days, but we would expect that to happen. And one has to be very careful. Those who think, oh, ye Bengal mein nahi ho sakta, I don't pander to that kind of argument. It can definitely happen. The Howrah incidents are a proof of that. And it will happen because the politics here is getting more and more competitive. The BJP is trying to make inroads, and they think religious politics is the way to do it. And the Trinamool is trying to hold its ground. Again, they are also playing religious politics, the politics of numbers. So we have to be really careful about which way the situation goes. And nothing can be taken for granted.
Saikat, I will have to take one input from you as well. What Subir is mentioning is found its resonance when the court also mentioned, speaking on Supreme Court, speaking on hate speech, said that politics and religion should be kept aside and then hate speeches would end. What we see on the roads is again a political blame game. A part of hate speech, nothing has been said, but the actions also speak louder than words. How do you see this as of now, Saikat, and do you believe that politics, obviously, and the interference with religion is something, it's a deadly mix?
Actually, when religion and politics mix, it's a deadly combination. When you use religion for your political purpose to further your political foothold, it becomes dangerous. The Supreme Court has rightly pointed out that if you use hate speech as your political tool, there is no end to violence. That is what is now happening in West Bengal. The BJP is trying, or the Saffron Brigade is trying to use politics, religion as the political tool to increase their foothold. And on the other hand, the Trinamool Congress is also, if not overtly, but covertly trying to use the politics of other sects to remain steadfast in the power. So this clash, if it continues, then the situation is in West Bengal is going to deteriorate.
Saikat, Subir, thank you so much for speaking to us. We hope that this situation does not spiral out of control from here, and police authorities too take cognizance of this. So, well, politics and religion, as the Supreme Court said, that it should be kept aside, and then only hate speeches or incidents like these, what we see in Howrah and other parts of the country on the occasion of Ram Navami, otherwise considered to be a celebration, a day of celebration, is unfortunate and something that all the state governments should ponder upon, especially with the police also keeping a close eye on the developments. We'll bring you details. Keep watching News 9 Live.